Hi, I'm Jemima Crosby with Coldwell Banker.
And I'm Dago Velasquez with Envoy Mortgage.
And it's July 27th, 2022. And we're going to introduce...
Today we're the boss.
The boss is what he calls her.
The boss of the Tri-Cities.
Oh gosh. The Vicki Monteagudo, not the, but Vicki Monteagudo of Sector 21 Tri-Cities. Today is July 27th, right? I think it's July 27th.
I think so.
What year?
2022. And
I wish it was 2020, you know? It's a little bit busier.
I know.
2020 a little bit more peaceful.
True, right? Busier too, right? And we've got Vicki Monteagudo with us today.
The boss lady.
So first of all, we always start this with the cheers because
Okay.
I guess it's bad luck.
Cool.
Doug always says it.
It is bad luck. So cheers.
Okay,
Cheers.
let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for saying yes.
I couldn't say no.
Oh, that's good. That makes me feel good. So I guess the biggest thing is we kind of want to get to know who Vicki is.
You know.
I do know, but I want others to know the real you. Not that you don't show that, but at the same time, I think
She may know, but I don't know.
he doesn't know. And I think he knows through stories and what he's heard. I mean, it's been a decade of knowing each other, you and I even longer. So I felt like in this journey of my raw conversation, it's been us getting to
Our
know.
raw conversation.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
you're
I'm
right.
saying.
But in this journey has been, I want people that have known us to know our stories and get to know people that have impacted us or we're still part of, and just let them talk and let us talk. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So who is Vicki Monteagudo?
Oh gosh, did we start right off the bat?
Well, I always tell my girls, I have two girls now, Stella and Claire, and they're 6 and 7 years old. And so I've taught them how to do a business handshake. So anytime they meet somebody, I go, hey, it's a business handshake. They'll go, my name's Stella, I'm 7 years old. And so I'm Vicki Monteagudo, and I'm 41 years old.
Oh, there you go. Again, so politically correct. I already told you. That's
I know.
how she is.
Yeah.
This was like valedictorian. Were you valedictorian?
Salutatorian. 1A minus,
Oh, gosh.
Spanish.
You should call me. I would help you.
That's true.
You didn't go to Pasco High, though.
No, I went to, I was in Bellevue.
No, you were not.
Bellevue.
Oh,
You were
Conno High, Conno High.
You were Pasco High, right?
Right. Yep.
In what year?
99.
Do you feel old?
I do. I just met a contractor the other day, and I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" He's like, "From Pasco." And I was about to say, "Well, I'm from Pasco High. Are you?" And I let him talk. He says, "Well, I'm Pasco, and I graduated in 2018." And so I just didn't say anything
Yeah.
because I'm like, "Wow, you're young."
Well, you were young once, too.
Yeah.
Do you
it's
remember
true.
that when you started?
Yeah, 21 years old.
Well, you
So-
you don't look
So this will be my
41,
20th
come on,
year
Vicki.
in
You're-
August.
That was a question. I'm like, so it's been, so do you remember, what year was that? Do you remember that?
2002. So August 13th will be my 20th year.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Oldie.
You're
Oldie
not-
goldie now.
I don't think you're old. In my opinion, you're not old because we're not that far apart.
So that makes you young? So it makes me young?
No, we're just young.
Okay.
We're not old. We're as old as we want to be is the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
So as long as we keep thinking
I
we're...
feel like I'm at least 23.
That's what you tell yourself. No, that's when we cut the line. I'm like, that's not the way.
23.
I know.
All right, 27, 27.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh. Okay.
I feel like I'm still in my 20s.
Yeah, you don't have wrinkles yet.
Yeah, let's go.
Can we not talk about that? Because
I know.
I should think so. I know we all have.
Concealer.
No. Okay, so when you started, you said you were 21. I'm pretty sure back in the day you and I talked about you were probably the youngest realtor at that time.
Back then, yeah. And most agents were 55, 56 years old. It was their second career after being a teacher or doing something else. So I was the baby. So they just
By
called
a
me
lot, though,
baby. Yeah.
Right? You were the baby, straight up.
So I always had to dress a little bit older than everybody else because I just wanted to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And so since you started, you said 2004, right?
2002.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I graduated in 2002. So you were 21. So you were just out of college, or what? Did
Yep,
you-
I was just finishing up. I was at CBC, and then I was finishing up at WSU.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Did
and
you
so
graduate?
then I was taking business law classes, and then I got into, and they were offering for the first time ever real estate classes, and then I sat for the exam, and c'est la vie.
And
It's
ta-da!
been 20 years.
Yeah.
So then my next question at 21, what was your first company that you went to?
I went to Coldwell Banker. Yeah.
So I'm curious, why?
It's always funny. They always say you just do things because of relationships. And then hopefully my husband's not watching this. Just joking. So I was dating a guy, and his dad was in the car dealership industry. And he introduced me to Beverly Hartley because her husband was in the car industry. And I didn't go anywhere else. I just felt comfortable there and interviewed. And
was it Ed? I think it was Ed.
yeah, it was
right?
Ed at the time. Yeah, lots of respect for him.
Yep. And so when you were there, it's funny because that was 2002, like you said, and I started in 2008. So I was 6 years later. And the story between you and I is the funny part. People don't understand. I remember people used to say, "Are we sisters?" Right?
Still get it, I think.
I still do too, actually. They say, "Oh, you're related to Vicki." No, I'm my own still. That's okay.
That's
I
right.
take it as a compliment.
I always say
too.
she's the skinnier
No,
sister.
it's really so silly. So I was going through life at that time, and I remember I was told, you need to go interview with Vicki. I actually interviewed. You don't forgot?
Well, I knew you approached me. I didn't know somebody told you to interview with me.
Yeah, I was trying to be your
I
assistant.
thought you knew everything. No?
No, she forgets.
I do.
On with
I
Vicki,
do.
She's forgetful in a good way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay. But for me, I wanted to be your assistant. And you denied me. And she did. You did deny me. But the best words that you said is, "You're too good." You said that at that time. And I was actually like, what? Like,
And you're like, I am?
well, I didn't think I was.
Put her on a pedestal.
No, you didn't. I think you also
Well, you know
felt,
what? It worked out for my favor.
it didn't
This
work
is
out. When you said that, I remember going home and like feeling super like sad. I didn't make it. But your words to me afterwards were, "Go get your license. I think I've got a better spot for you." And for a little hot second, if you remember, I sold the magazines, like the ads for you.
Yeah, for the Perfect Move magazine.
Yep. So I totally did. And when I was doing that,
Did you do a good job?
I thought so. I got a few ads right off the bat. All of my connects I just called right off the
Probably
bat.
call the lenders, huh?
She's really approachable.
So are you. That's why we were probably sister mentality.
Yeah.
And then after you said, just go get your license, I was starting to, 30 days, I took 2 hours a day is what I committed to studying for that test. You scared the crap out of me by telling me the test is so hard. Because it took you how long? How many times to test?
Twice. It's like my driver's test too. It took me twice. They don't allow California stops in Washington State.
And so you scared me, but I hustled and yeah.
You did, because a lot of agents will take a lot of time to take the exam, and they'll forget all the details. But
Right.
I could tell she was really determined. I didn't remember that was exactly 30 days, but it was quick. And I knew that she wouldn't be necessarily what I would look at as like a transaction coordinator or listing coordinator, because she had the hustle. And that's something you can't teach.
Yeah.
The grit, the hustle, the determination. And then look at where it's landed you today.
Did you pass your first time?
I did pass the first time.
She did. She did.
And I remember looking at you and telling you I passed. And you're looking at me like, what? And I was like, oh, I'm cool right now. Like, it was just a moment of just feeling cool. So that was our beginning, you could say. If it wasn't at that moment, that opportunity, I think our relationship just kind of grew. We became very close friends. I mean,
Just by nature of working together all the time, it was just inherent that would happen.
right. And in real estate, that's what happens. I mean, Dago and you and I are very close, and I think a lot of it has to do with chemistry in what you do. If you're able to talk shop with somebody, and I didn't believe this until I dealt with it with other industries and seeing even my husband be able to just keep talking. I mean, 3 to 4 hours could go by. I remember you and I just chatting about.
We'd be sitting outside the model home. We'd close at 5 or 6, depending on season.
Yep.
And we'd sit in the my car, the Xterra, and we'd sit there. And it would be like hours. And
Hours. We're in
I gotta
trouble.
go home. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I don't have kids, but I mean,
I
I think I
did.
gotta go.
What did you guys talk about? Just whatever?
Just everything.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Life?
it just got so basket weaved with transactions, clients, people, flow, and then all the
You're like,
extra
that lender
stuff.
sucks over there, right?
yeah.
She taught me tons about that and being selective. I can keep going. I mean, if it wasn't for you to like teach me, this is how you do even a listing presentation at that time, which you in 6 years had branded yourself on a different level for being so young. But I think that's who you were. You were ahead of that part. Like you said, you had a lot of old school in front of you, even though you had a Laura Harris that was on your heels and you were on her heels.
Oh yeah, it was
for
friendly
years.
fire though.
It
was
was.
nice because it was never competitive with her and I. Like, oh gosh, look at what she's doing. We would always collaborate and say, what do you got working on? I'm working on this, and it was great.
And it worked. Yeah,
it's nice.
It worked out. So as we were talking about that, life goes on. I mean, Vicki, you were in my wedding.
I still have the hairpiece.
So we were very close, and as I said, life goes on because I think that's a true statement. I mean, without details or anything, it was just a moment of life. People who are determined, especially females. I say this, sorry. Not the guys. You guys have it way easier than we do. I will tell you this.
A little bit, but not that easy.
Really. So you had to make a decision in life at that time for your situation. And I always bring it up. People are like, so what happened? And I'm like, life. Was it easy?
No.
No.
What are you talking about?
When Vicki made the transition to become even a bigger boss.
Gotcha.
That's the way I say it.
Yeah.
Bought the Century 21 franchise, and this is 10th year.
Yep. So that was 10 years
10
ago.
years ago, yeah. Nice.
And you and I started getting to know each
Yeah.
other like right around that same time frame. So what's funny?
And I was like, Vicki, don't! I'm barely getting in. But I will tell you this: I know Jimmy and I talked about you a lot, and I was like, I couldn't relate because obviously I feel like when I see you, I can relate a little bit. There's chemistry, but I don't really know you, right? So, but she was like, she gets pretty emotional. Like I'm like, you did. The first couple of times we talked about you, like when you left, and she's like,
it was
she
hard.
loved me, and I was like,
But she was capable.
Yeah.
So that was the difference. I knew it was in good hands.
yeah,
But yeah.
Because I had the non-compete, right? So I had to leave all of our builder accounts, all of our developer accounts, and I couldn't take any of those. But I knew it was in good hands. And so I think that drew peace for me because even when you're looking to make a business decision, you don't always look at all the details of it because that's stifling for a true entrepreneur. But I just knew, okay, it's handled. The builder will be happy. It will go well.
Yeah.
That was comforting to know that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that was probably, for me, it was a growing stepping stone. I was that.
It was actually a natural progression for you.
It was
Because if
natural.
not with that account, it would eventually been with an account, I think.
I agree. For me, it was multiple layers of growth. You've got the emotional side. One of the closest friends I had at that time, not that we're
and
not.
you know how Jimmy she can get pretty emotional.
Yes, you said that already once. Thank you.
like-
Let her drink some more.
We had that side, and then we had the business side of it that
Right.
ended up, because of it, like you said, it was a stepping stone, and it gave me a little bit of strength to do my own thing. And then now, gosh, a decade later, now I'm like,
Decade.
I'm
Isn't
like,
that
let's
wild?
yes, and I appreciate more so than ever the fact that we can now talk and say,
course.
hey, let's be real for a little while. Let's
Yeah.
show what realness happens in real estate in all levels. So I kind of wanted just to say, poor Dago got stuck with me after you left.
It worked out.
Right?
That was a good
you
trade.
Had to tag in. How many times you tagged in? You're
No.
like, oh my goodness,
Well, but I'm
what
like-
did I do?
Let's go figure it out.
Well, I knew eventually we'd have to grow a different direction. I'm not a runner. She's a runner. You're a runner. I'm not a runner.
Oh, it's so true. That's a true statement.
I don't even like running.
He only does it because.
I did it for the hustle and the grind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was clearly just because of me. And now he's like, well,
She's
I'm done.
always done that.
It's
Even
weird.
before real estate.
It's true. I did. And yeah.
3 miles is max for me. That's it.
Now he says that.
Yeah.
Not at the beginning, because he was like, I'll run a half marathon with you. I'll run a full marathon with you. No, what happened?
But for me, obviously I had different scenarios. Why? And I'm like, all right, I couldn't say no.
Yeah, you can't
go.
say no to her.
Yeah, let's go.
She's pretty pushy.
Yeah.
Really?
In a good
Like,
way.
Oh, I didn't know.
Good thing all my loans close on time.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want to deal with salsa.
He's
Do you
had
know
to.
salsa?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spicy
Oh,
salsa?
yeah. No, yeah. I said, yeah, don't come over to the office. I'm like, if you do, I'm going to be under my desk and you will not see me.
No, that's why I had to move him over here.
Right. That's what I heard.
No, when you were first in real estate, I remember that. I'm like, simmer.
You
It's gonna
did.
be okay.
You
'Cause
did.
Right?
She came guns a-blazing, and
And
when
like you
things
told us
didn't
to
go
be
quite right.
relaxed.
Hey,
Oh, no.
can we talk good?
Patience.
I have caught on.
Patience.
No, she's a runner and gunner, though, and that's what I appreciate about your style. Anytime you said you were going to do something, you follow through with it.
It's consistency.
Always. Consistency with that. You're all hands on deck with your transactions. And and you know this about me, my pet peeve with any agent is when I have to tell you more than once the same thing, I don't get why.
Right.
I don't understand. Like
100%.
You asked the question, it was worthwhile to listen.
Whatever. Really? Okay, did you hear the word communicate too? We want to go there.
I communicate with my eyes.
Through the phone.
So anyway, so we.
Yeah. Well, let me keep going.
All right.
Let me have a drink real quick.
Okay,
Is that okay?
Yeah, because
There
I've
you
been
go.
drinking mine. You know. I mean these singles.
Okay, so here's the question that I'm sure everyone wants to know.
Oh,
What is it like to be Vicki Monteagudo today, who is known as not only like a very strong female in real estate, but also a entrepreneur, and you can't get out. So when you get out, and now you have babies, and now you're married, not that now, but you've been, what is that like? Do you ever?
What do you mean get out?
Well, that's exactly the question. When I say get out, I don't know where you're going. Go to the store. What is that like? I remember back
Uber Eats and Instacart?
So, okay, remember back in the day when
Come
we
on,
would
Jeff,
go-
step it up.
Poor guy.
No, it's true.
I don't
go
even
to
know
the
Jeff,
grocery
but I know, step it
store.
up, Jeff.
Yeah, I go to the grocery store, would never get out of the grocery store because I didn't even wear glasses. Oh,
Right.
You know.
Right.
But actually, that was always the goal, right? Always the
At the
goal was
beginning.
to be able to walk in a grocery store, not duck aisles, because so many agents maybe don't do a great job with their clients, and so when they see them, instead of hey, how's everything going, they're ducking aisles to go down to the cosmetic aisle or whatnot, just to
Right.
get away from their clients. And I always said to myself, I want to be able, if I was in the grocery store and I saw a past client, that we could talk.
Yeah.
So, but fast forward. Now it's like, your face, your social media, you have Century 21, you are the boss, like he said. What is that?
Boss lady.
I know, boss lady.
I guess I don't feel that way.
But no, when I say that humbly, I know you don't. That's the coolest thing, actually. I admire that.
Yeah.
And we can go in a whole story there. But it's true. But
Volume 2,
part 2.
episode 2.
But what, like, with your kids, your girls?
Yeah.
Is it hard sometimes that you just want to go and just enjoy dinner and not be, like, talk? Not just get out of your... And I'm not telling you I'm there, but
Yeah.
there are moments where I don't want to have to be full on, all the things, look the part, let me just have a few drinks and not feel like I'm saying too much. Those are the things
You don't
that
look like this 100% of the time.
clearly not. No, I will say I don't.
I don't know. It's I don't know. Maybe it's now because it's 20 years. Now it doesn't affect me the same way.
Oh.
Before, maybe it was always like, we gotta, perform or something like that.
Right.
And I think newer agents probably do feel that way because they feel like they're on scene or on episode every time. But I guess maybe because we've been doing this longer, it's like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm not misbehaving. I'm not saying anything I wouldn't necessarily care if somebody heard. So it's not as big of a deal, I guess, now.
I guess it's just having obviously tons of confidence level, right? So
The confidence side,
yeah,
I agree.
and just like doing it for so long too, right? So just
Because even
it's just natural.
we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
Yeah.
have to get out of town
Sure.
just to not feel like there's a pressure.
Yeah, social pressure.
The social
Mm-hmm.
pressure is a real thing, especially
Yeah.
since I will tell you, on a real estate level, Vicki, you brought on that social marketing side. You did. You started it. And anyone who says different, that's wrong. So I will back that 110%. But being said that, there comes a lot of things with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. Even with like Facebook and Instagram on a personal level, I don't post everything because you don't want people to build a narrative of who they think you are just because of where you're eating, where you're vacationing,
Yeah.
what you're doing, and dreaming up this narrative of how they think you live your life.
Right.
I mean, how many times do I get home at 10:30 at night or later and I'm eating French fries that are still over the kitchen sink? I mean, sometimes I do think that, gosh, I wish if they got a picture of this, that's how they live.
That's
Then
exactly-
they would get it. Like,
100%.
it's just, you don't always understand outside of this the amount of effort and work that goes into it,
And
right?
that's why I asked, how does it feel now? Because I can tell you for a fact, again, I'm not super cool, but sometimes I just want to be able to, like, we've talked about it, let go a little bit and be real. And every so often it's not as easy. But for you, I can only imagine it's even 10 times worse.
Well, and I think you're the same way, though. There's not two Vickies, there's not two Jemimas, right? What you see is what you get. I always say I'm too busy to tell two different stories. I'm I only can tell one story and remember one story. So
sometimes
what
you
you
forget.
see is what you get.
That's right.
And sometimes some might perceive it as, wow, she's either too nice, or why does she laugh so much, or can she possibly be that happy all the time? I get it. And, you know, we've talked about it before. Don't misinterpret my sweetness as a weakness either.
And it's funny because you had brought that up earlier today. It's like, what did you say?
I said,
Is she
what did I say?
Oh, well, you said it.
Well, no, like I said earlier, I feel like I just got to, when I see you, I feel like I know you just because obviously from Jemima talking to you, you know, great things about you and stuff like that, and you doing your stuff, and you're always smiling, you're always positive, and it's like,
When do you get mad?
You know.
I know, I'm
When
scared.
people don't do what they say they're going to do.
I've seen you
I'm
mad.
glad I'm on your good
No,
side.
it's so
Okay?
funny.
You close that very quickly.
I've seen you mad one time, and if I actually go back, and I don't want to talk a long story, but it was my second year. I was rookie still, and I didn't do anything wrong in your world. I appreciate the fact that when you see hustle, you will back it, especially if it's part of you.
That's right.
And you yelling at a certain realtor in our office, and I'll never forget it, in the hallways, like going to bat for me. I was like, oh man, that girl comes out. So you taught me a little bit, like
Because I'm okay with
too.
Yeah, I'm okay with protecting my own if they're doing and marching the way that should be marched, right?
Right.
But if you're doing something deceitful or you're doing something with misintent,
Right.
I can't back that up because that's not who I am, and I'm not going to cover somebody else's mishandling.
Right.
Whether it be lack of follow through or something of that nature. But when I know that somebody is always taking care of their business, then it's easier to defend, I think.
Right. No, agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so another question I feel like people want to know, only because I've already asked Laura this, and I love asking this to females. And I'm sorry, Dago, I keep saying this out loud. I know, I'm sorry. At least you relate, you get it with me. To be a mom and have kids in this industry, especially because you did do it later than me, although we were pregnant at the same time, within a month apart. You had, was it Claire and Christian are literally 1 month exactly apart. Tell me how that went.
Yeah, so 20th year in real estate, I got to a point, meeting with the doctors, they said, if you think you're going to have kids, your eggs are going to be powder if you don't hurry up. I'm like, that's real nice of you. And so, you know, you go through life, right, and it's the hustle of real estate and everything else, and then you get to Applebee's, you know, every night, and late at night, and you're thinking, there's got to be more to life than just work in Applebee's. And so, you know, I just at that point.
Sponsored by Applebee's?
No, let's do the song. Can you cut to the song? And so I just told myself, you know, if, you know, and I'm not super religious. Everybody kind of knows that, but I feel like I have a pretty strong moral compass. And because obviously with real estate, it's hard to do church on Sundays. It's very tough, right?
Right.
And so I just kind of put it in God's hands, and I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and we'll just go that path, right? And so once I crested over to the point you were already at with motherhood, the one word that I think every working mom contends with is the word guilt. So you either feel too guilty because you're at work and you're not with the kids enough, or you are at home with the kids and then you feel guilty because you're not attentive at work. And so I've just kind of had this household rule. When I'm home, I call it FaceTime, and not the sense of what we know about phones, but if I'm going to be there, then we're going to be interacting. We're going to be playing games. We're going to be practicing homework. So it's engaged time, because how many people do you know that are actually home with their kids full time, but they're on their phones the whole time, or they're in front of the TVs, or they're not really engaged with their kids? And I feel like we are of a generation of where there's a lot of kids that are neglected, right? So kids are feeling neglected because parents are picking phones or media over them.
Right.
And so that's just one thing that I really try to focus on, and mental toughness with the kids, just because it's a changing world.
But do you remember, I remember this conversation with you very strongly, because I asked Laura that, and I'm like, I had to hide my pregnancy for a little while. Do you remember that conversation with you and I? Probably. It's okay.
It's been a long time because you're oldest.
Yeah, he's almost 20. Can
Yeah.
we not date me too? I was young, okay? Amazing kid though, I'm
Right.
grateful. But with Christian, at that time, we had the same client, the same builder, and we find out within the same time frame, we're both pregnant at the same time. I remember I'm pretty sure you called me and your words were, when are we going to tell him? Because he needed us.
Yeah.
And we both knew that the minute one of us leaked, the other one's going to leak too. It's going to be a domino and it's going to be bad. But I felt like, it got me that strength I needed. And although it was my last baby and I should be super excited and super strong about that,
Right.
I needed that confidence in knowing, hey, you got two of us, dude, and both of us are in that same situation.
Right.
What's going to happen, And that gave me that little bit.
I think your first child, it's always the first, right?
Right.
So you get the best stroller, the best baby bottles, the best everything. But then as a working mother, you think, okay, they're going to see this as a handicap. And that's, through all these years, that's what I feel like a lot of counterparts look at pregnancy as a handicap. Well, she won't be able to perform or she won't be able to run the distance because she's carrying another. And so my first baby, Stella, I actually waited 21 weeks before I told anybody. And then, of course, I'm starting to show.
Right.
And so they're starting to ask questions. And they're like, well, how were you able to go 21 weeks? I go, let's be honest. I look like I'm 28 weeks pregnant all the time. So that was easy for me to hide. But then once you get to the second one, you just embrace it because probably just like you, worked up to basically 2 days before I delivered and then had emergency C-section. And then within a week, I was back to work. So to me, I didn't take this long period of time off, but it really taught me how to integrate my work schedule with my kids' schedule. So like we didn't have like a really set determined nap time. We didn't do it that way just because I wanted them to be really exposed to noise. So if they had to come with me to somewhere,
Right.
and they know their manners and
Right.
they can just come with if I get in kind of a bind.
That's what I did with my guy. No, I didn't.
Oh my God, you are spoiled. Kristen is a saint. You be grateful. Because it was same with me, and I feel like I hit it. I probably hit it maybe like 3 weeks prior to you, but when I say I hit it, we came
Well,
to...
you can't hide it.
Well, no, that's not it. Thankfully, he hadn't come down.
Me, everybody's used to me wearing layers.
We were on the phone, and you're like, what are we saying? When are we saying it? Let's time it at the same time. I think we hit him the same week. I'm pretty sure we timed that on purpose, just so we could feel like...
Well, when you represent a lot of builders and developers, honestly, and even if they said no, I wouldn't feel that way. In the back of everybody's mind, it's, well, when is she going to go out? Is she going to be on bed rest?
Right.
When are they going to be back to work? How's this going to impact my business?
Yeah.
How's this going to impact sales? All those things. And so that's why I look at it, they must look at it as almost like a handicap.
And so we went through the same thing as Laura. Laura even said it too. She hit it until she couldn't hide it anymore.
Yeah. Because you do get to that point. But yeah, so mother's guilt is what I call it.
Mother's guilt. Yeah, that's a good statement.
I did take paternity leave.
You didn't. Yeah.
W-2.
Oh,
1099.
I like it.
I actually didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. You know that I didn't.
Well,
Paternity leave,
okay,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
Watch.
I
I was also back to work within a couple of weeks, and it's
Yeah.
not easy. I remember literally on the phone writing up an offer the day of my C-section.
Oh, yeah, same. I was on the laptop, and then all of a sudden the anesthesiologist is behind me, and he's like, yeah, it's probably time for you to put that away. I'm like, okay.
The next day, Michael, he grabs my phone. He's like, honey, you're not making much sense right now when I'm getting phone calls and I'm answering them like as if I'm still at the office.
just feel like it's natural, right? Like, we love what we do.
Absolutely.
So it's like
Absolutely.
it's just natural because I come home still like you're talking about like you put your phone down and my wife Kristen tells me, hey, put your phone down. I'm like, okay, cool. 30 minutes, but it's like just natural because I don't pick up so late because I have my time, but I love what I do.
Right.
Right. And I feel
And
like
it bleeds through what you
does.
work, right?
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
so-
I love it.
So, okay, other than that, let's talk about pobrecito Jeff. How's Jeff doing? Is Jeff doing good?
Yes.
Jeff, send me some loans.
Oh, Chadwick.
So,
Sorry, Chad.
So, you guys have been married how long?
Oh,
Honey, come on.
1 year greater than Stella. So 8?
And you guys have been together for a while, though.
Yeah, since 2007.
So he's a realtor also.
Yeah, and you know he was a builder
He was.
because she represented him.
Because she
Graph
said no.
construction.
Okay.
Well, because it was too close, and I really believe in.
handed me him.
I really believe in agency, and I felt like, well, if I'm dating him, how do I represent the buyer too? It just kind of was
It's true.
Could
Yeah.
be agency,
So
kind of
she goes
messy.
like,
Okay, yeah.
Here, you take him.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys were building in Sundance Ridge
Yes.
and all that.
Yep, it's Jeff. I will say boys are different than girls. Organization's all things. And I think Jeff's perfect spot is definitely real estate because it's funny because I remember calling him like, he should have been a realtor from day one.
But I think to go for that builder background, it gave
He's
him a
got
lot more
more.
perspective.
100%.
Yep.
He's got more confidence behind it because he knows
Yep.
all things, ins and outs.
Yep. Remodeling, the building process, all of that.
So, I always like to go over some stats.
Ooh.
I know.
Juicy stuff, page 2.
So, I would say when it comes to Vicki, I'm sure you know your own stinking numbers.
I actually don't. You should know that about me.
I know.
I'm always so focused on what's in front of me that I'm not counting in a very well sense what's behind me.
And Laura was very similar, and that's what makes it. I don't either. It's funny because Dago, you lectured me all the time. You don't know where you're at. I'm like, why? But why?
Oh, the only reason I said that is because you set your goals for the year, right?
It's true.
So it's like, hey,
I'm not good at that.
So it's
evidently.
like, hey, so you got your number, so
Now, how are you gonna do it?
yeah, how you
How
do
you
it?
gonna
So,
execute it?
right.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. I'll just run until I can't run no more, right?
Exactly.
No,
I know.
okay.
I'm kind of the same way.
See?
It's nice to put these
Don't tell me
ideas of these goals, and I put them on a post-it note on my mirror
Yeah.
in the bathroom like you're supposed to. But when you're running and gunning, it's just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Nose down.
Yeah.
And just see what
Yep.
happens.
Yep. And
that's-
I never count any commission percentages before the deal's done because I
Yeah.
feel like any of that stuff just jinxes it.
Never count your chickens to the hatch.
Yep.
That's exactly.
Because something happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a bill over here. Oh crap! I gotta pay this bill over here.
there goes
my
everything.
commission.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's
something's
exactly
right.
right. That's exactly
so-
right.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I like to look back. I like to
Okay.
understand, especially because people, if they don't already know you because of your face, hey, don't say
Okay.
it. Look at her, she's wanting to see.
Peeking.
So I know. So I went back as far as Paragon can go. Okay.
Okay.
So that was 2006.
Oh. So short 4 years.
Short 4 years. In all of those years, because I have combined everything, so they combine it. That's the cool part. Out of all 4 years, however many years, 2006 to 2022, what's that? 18 years? Is that correct?
Come on, Lunder.
It's close.
What's my calculator?
I know it could be wrong, but it's a long time. You're number 3 overall,
Really?
and that's even being designated broker and everything. That's up to 2022. So out of those, because you became a designated broker, what year was it that you went into? 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so 2010. So 2012.
2012.
Okay. So I went and said, okay, out of all those, how many of those were top 10? And you were 11 years because then you became a DB and life changes, I'm
Right.
sure. Although you still have strong numbers, I'm going to tell you as a DB. That's amazing. Yes. And what people don't understand is you've had one DB, I've had one DB, I would say, right? Well, DB is a designated broker, the person in charge of the brokerage. And I don't know Ed's numbers like you would know better than I would. I'm sure he was a top producer. But you don't see a lot of designated brokers as long-term top producers. And in that sense, Vicki, you set apart not only that because you're a female and you have a huge brand, but you set yourself apart compared to, in my opinion, a lot of them out there. Don't get me wrong, I admire so many designated brokers out there, but to have numbers that back you, there's a sense of respect. You know, the trust comes in saying, well, she did it. Like, it's not like you're just being taught based off of all the, oh, well, this is what you're supposed to do. Here's this training.
Yeah,
here's
theory.
that. Theory, yeah, which is great. You ran it.
Yeah.
You ran that show.
I just want to start closing some of your loans. You know?
You did. You did a great job with Visa.
Sorry.
I love how you just, he's like, well, she's still that strong. Why
I
am
can't
not
leave.
doing it?
Yes. No, and that's the thing. I always say that I'm a better manager operator when I'm managing not from behind a desk and I'm actually in the field, because then I know the same war and the front lines that my agents are dealing with.
Sure.
Because it's changed, right? What it
100%.
was 10 years ago versus 5 years ago versus March
Right.
of this year.
Right.
It's wildly different. And so I think being on the front lines, hearing firsthand from either seller or buyer concerns, I know then how to create programs that best sets up our agents for success, because we have about 72 agents at our office
Right.
now.
So what you love to do is evolve with the time
And the market.
as a designated broker. And that to me, again, is what sets you different. I'm not going to ever say better because I love Travis
Yeah,
Davis.
that's right.
All day long, everyone has their own spot. You know, Dave Rutter has his own spot.
That's
And he's
right.
got a great scenario there too. So for me, though, I will always admire the females. The ones that I learn from, the ones that I see in front of everything. I have to give you that kudos because that would be the silliest thing if I didn't. So that's why, yeah, like
And
please,
toast to that.
yes, cheers to you.
Cheers.
Oh, 'cause you know that.
Yeah.
And
I was about to ask a question, but I was like, I'm gonna ask it a little bit later. But
Yeah, so, and then I don't know if you pulled any of that, but so I own Century 21 and NEI Commercial.
Right.
So, and the reason why I did that is because I had a lot of residential agents start to sell strip centers and airplane
Sure.
hangars and all these things that were beyond kind of their everyday scope. And so NEI was a good fix for that. So that way
You could
we could
diversify.
have, and then we'd have specialized commercial brokers
Yeah.
doing those type of
well, thank
transactions.
you for the office.
Yeah, that's right.
He did tell. She did. I approved it. It's okay.
Yeah, I had to keep you close to her.
So here's my last question before I end it. If you were,
it's ending?
yeah.
So
You're
we're
like,
gonna get
"We're gonna do
started."
it too." So if you were to tell yourself something 20 years ago, because there's rookies listening, because they know your face and they know who you are. Obviously, you are top 3 forever, and now you are who you are today. What would you tell that rookie? Oh,
So
you're
I
gonna read it?
I wrote something the other day that I thought of.
She knew you were gonna ask her that question.
No, I didn't know that, but you know me. Certain things come to mind, and then I need to write it down. So what I wrote down was, if I've inspired you to do what I've done, then I've done what I need to do.
So that's what you would tell yourself in 20 years ago?
No, I think that's what I would tell anybody today, is if they saw what I've been able to accomplish in the last 20 years and they felt compelled to do it or do it better, then I feel like I've done my job.
So that's your whole goal. And your girls, do you hope that they follow your footsteps?
No, it doesn't matter to me. I want them to be happy.
Yeah.
I always tell my kids at this point, now having a 20-year-old, I'm like, I say it to Aaron almost 24/7. Do what you love, because that's what's going to succeed. And success is different from everybody. For everybody, I should say. So as long as you love it,
That's all that matters.
it's all that matters.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I always say, like, even if you want to be a skateboarder, be the best skateboarder. I mean, look at, what's his name?
Shaun
Off
White.
Ridiculousness.
Oh, not Shaun White. Or what's his name?
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Just be the best at
I love that
whatever
show.
path you decide. Yeah, because this is my dream. I'm not going to put that on them to make that their dream, too, because that's not
Yeah.
their dream.
Right, that's true. Well, Dago, go ahead if you want to say something. Cause
No, just I want to say thank you, Vicki, for being here at my, wonderful office.
Yeah, great location.
Thank you again.
You can see the whole city.
Thank you again. Thank you for being here, and I actually I'm like glad that I get to know you a little bit more. Just like this.
So
year,
all the
bro-
stories true?
Yeah.
About what?
Me.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think
for
I've
sure.
ever said anything bad.
I just feel like every time I see you, like it's like I feel like I know you, right? So like I don't have to be like.
I always say that we're very similar in certain ways. We have our different, but very similar.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I want to end. Like Vicki, like to me, this whole journey this year has been like people get to know me, get to know Dago in a raw situation, and I would be the stupidest person if I didn't give you the credit for who you were and teaching me everything at that time in my life that there was to do with real estate. I mean, till the point that you don't even remember that I had this client that came in and you literally gave me your keys to the Mercedes car at that time. You had a Mercedes. And you said, here, take it. Because I was so intimidated to meet that client. Mm-hmm. And you said, do it. And just, you'll be fine. And you were that person. And I will never take that away from you, ever. So please know from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
That's so sweet.
Shot time.
And she didn't wreck the V8.
I did it.
That thing had a lot of power.
That's true. I did it. Oh,
Well,
man.
Well,
toast.
cheers.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be calling you more.
Okay.